Hello everyone! It's no secret to anyone that many people dream of buying their own car and save money to do so. When they finally achieve their goal, they literally get the most out of their new purchase. But there are also many stories in which vehicles are deliberately left unattended for a long time. Some people don't seem to need a car and use it as an accessory, such as this Ferrari for patio decoration. Many expensive cars were kept out of the sunlight for years, something that will undoubtedly amaze the average person. But let's start from the beginning. In today's video, we'll tell you about a rare car that was underground for half a century. Who put it there and why? Let's find out. Let's get it on. As you probably know, in the United States of America, time capsules with messages for the people of the future are quite popular. In general, they contain all kinds of objects that describe the time when the capsule was made, and in 1957, there was no exception for such an event. The American state of Oklahoma was then 50 years old, and as you probably already guessed, in honor of this, in the city of Tulsa, a time capsule was created. However, it didn't include any everyday inventions or objects, but a completely new car, the Plymouth Belvedere, which the villagers buried in a specially excavated crypt in front of the town hall building. In those years, the car was considered one of the most luxurious models, so it was chosen as a gift for future generations. By the way, everything possible was done to protect this rarity hidden in the earth. The car had 40 litres of petrol in the tank, 5 litres of oil, a layer of protective wax, and a cover. How many locals would like to visit the crypt at night with a shovel and rescue the elegant Plymouth Belvedere? There's probably been some attempted robbery, but history says nothing about it. Once the capsule with the car was buried under a thick layer of soil, a date was set for excavating the vehicle. Obviously, it was decided that the car would be rescued the day the state of Oklahoma turned 100. Fortunately, no one forgot about this time capsule, and after half a century, the luxurious Plymouth Belvedere was dug out. Most interestingly, the car was full of memorabilia and local products. In addition, the 1957 government organized a lottery under a rather difficult condition. To win the car after 50 years, it was necessary to guess the number of inhabitants of the city of Tulsa in 2007. As usual, people love free stuff and events where they can win stuff. So it's not surprising that 812 people participated in the competition at that time. The answers were recorded on tape and stored in the Belvedere's glove compartment. Inside were also put the car keys, as well as cigarettes, various medicines, beer, and even an unpaid parking ticket. Next to the vehicle, they found a welded metal container. It contained 10 litres of engine oil, 20 litres of gasoline in case another kind of fuel was used in the future, a message from the local church, a map of the Douglas airport, several copies of the newspaper, a 48-star American flag, as well as messages from the mayor and representatives of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry. The time capsule, on the other hand, was built entirely of reinforced concrete, capable of withstanding the explosion of a nuclear bomb. And after the car was buried, a commemorative plaque was erected on the site, so that 50 years later, the new inhabitants of the city would know where to dig. Miss Belvedere, as the luxurious car was affectionately called, even had an official website where fans could write and view the photos of the funeral. And in the end, time passed quickly enough. We don't know exactly what it takes to get a rare car off the ground, but preparations for opening the capsule began 18 months earlier. Tulsa residents gathered together not to miss this historic event. Not every day can you witness the digging of a car, can you? On the day of the event, the city was filled with tourists and journalists, eagerly waiting for the luxurious Miss Belvedere to finally leave the ground. In addition, the solemn excavation involved many people who were alive when the time capsule was buried. They even joked about the luck of the person who would keep the car, because in 2007, the value of the Plymouth Belvedere was more than the $2,000 that it cost 50 years ago. After the workers raised the concrete slab, the sunlight entered the vault for the first time in half a century. Unfortunately, because the place was not waterproof, there was water above the knee. Apparently, there was an engineering error in the calculations. An additional inspection of the car showed that there was a period when groundwater completely flooded the crypt. The hope of getting the car back in good condition was gone. Unfortunately, Miss Belvedere now had more in common with the Titanic than with a functional car. First, it was necessary to pump the water so that the crane could take out the soaked Plymouth Belvedere at the local conference center. The event was attended by over 9,000 people, and when the car was finally discovered, everyone saw a thick layer of dirt and rust both inside and out. The interior elements had completely rotted, and the engine was pitiful. It was clear to everyone that Miss Belvedere had no chance of recovery. By the way, the cassette with the records in the glove compartment wasn't found. Apparently, it disappeared completely the same way as the car key. Can you imagine? Fortunately, at least what was in the welded container was preserved, as the airtight case protected the contents. The piles of letters and the American flag seemed as good as and vivid as they were 50 years ago. You haven't forgotten about the contest, have you? Its winner was Raymond Umberson, who unfortunately died in 1979, so the car was handed over to his 100-year-old sister. Raymond said that the approximate number of residents of the city for 2007 would be 384,743. Officially in the city, there were 382,457 local residents. By the way, in 1957, there were only 250,000 people living in the city. As is often the case, there were enthusiasts who, despite everything, decided to restore the Plymouth Belvedere on their own. The Ultra One company, which specializes in high-quality rust removal products, started working immediately. After a while, the car began to look much better than the day it was dug up. The bodywork was now glowing, and the windows were transparent again. And as a result, in 2015, Miss Belvedere was exhibited at the Illinois Museum of History. Looks like burying expensive cars in the dirt has become kind of a hobby. It's normal to find interesting things buried in the courtyard of a house. Old coins, ancient structures, or fossils. But what these two children found in the late 1970s is really amazing. In 1978, the family moved into a new house outside of Los Angeles. The two children, like any other young child, began to explore the courtyard. One day, while playing, the children started digging a hole, something their parents didn't approve of at first, but they quickly changed their minds. The brothers suddenly discovered something solid underneath the earth, and this was the beginning of a story that went viral around the world. The boys were very happy with their discovery, thinking that they'd found a precious treasure. But continuing with the excavation, they found something even better. Under the layers of grass and earth lay a Ferrari. When the children showed the finding to their parents, they couldn't believe what they saw. Fearing that the supercar was related to a crime, the adults immediately called the police. Thanks to the help of the law, the car was excavated immediately. In the eyes of the officers and the bewildered family, a completely new 1974 Ferrari Dino 246 GTS appeared. After investigating the site, police realized that the car was buried in what had once been a swimming pool. However, no one knew why anyone had hidden an expensive supercar in the bottom of it. But it soon became clear who owned this Ferrari. They were two older men who had stolen the car while dining at a restaurant in Los Angeles. The police theory was that the thieves were planning to hide the car and then pick it up. But apparently something went wrong, so the car was underground until the children dug it up. Another mystery in this strange case is that it was impossible to trace the owners of the Ferrari. As you can see, the story's really mysterious. But once a certain Brad Howard appeared and bought the Dino 246 GTS for $72,000, much less than its real value. The man wasn't embarrassed by the rumors about the car and was determined to restore its appearance and put it back to work. As a result, the professionals returned their car to its original appearance and also repaired the engine. This could be the end of the story, but no. A few years later, something mysterious happened. An employee of an online newspaper was writing an article about the mysterious Ferrari and contacted Brad. He told him how he became the owner of the car, but instead of finishing the story, the journalist discovered new things in the situation. The investigation continued, and the journalist discovered the truth of the mysterious story of the Ferrari Dino. I'm sure you're anxious to know what really happened. After further investigation, it was discovered that there was a crime, but not the one that the police initially assumed. As it turned out, the Ferrari owners lost all their money and couldn't live with a luxury car. But the owners were so attached to the car that they didn't want to give it up to pay their debts, even though they couldn't keep it. So they decided to park the car in an empty pool and fill it with dirt to get the insurance money, while keeping the supercar. Brilliant, isn't it? And the plan worked. But so far, no one knows why during all these years they didn't dig up their elegant Ferrari. Maybe there are luxury cars under our feet and we don't even know it. Give us a like if you'd like to find a valuable car in your garden, and tell us in the comments what brand of car you'd like.